Welcome to part 4, the vision. So, as I had mentioned before, our job was starting to downsize. And rather than wait to get a pink slip, some of us were looking for other jobs. For me, I had this very overwhelming, just powerfully overwhelming feeling to start traveling. Well, with this job, I wasn't making that much money. And I had 2 young sons to care for. And so traveling was just not an option. I called our main library and asked them if they had a book on flight attendants. They said they did not. And I asked them, is there anywhere that I could find one? And there was one place in our hometown that had a book. And it was a very wealthy, very ritzy neighborhood. So I reserved the book, drove up there and got it. I memorized that book front to back, read it over and over and over. I went to interview after interview after interview after interview after interview with no success. Now, I'm the type of person that if I can't get something and somebody else wants it and I can help them, then that's what I will do. So I took a coworker with me. He was, and as I had mentioned before, he was really good looking Italian. And I told him, what to wear, wear a suit, how to wear his hair, make sure you look just, fabulous. He was already good looking, so he didn't have to do that much. And I quizzed him, went over the questions over and over and, just kind of talked to him about some of the things that I had learned about, being a flight attendant. And so we went to the hotel and there were like hundreds and hundreds of people there that from all walks of life that wanted to be flight attendants. Some people had wanted to be a flight attendant, from the time they were little, and they decided now was the time that they were going to be a flight attendant. There were flight attendants from other airlines that were interviewing for various reasons. There were people from all walks of life that were interviewing. So they broke us up into several groups, and in a lot of different rooms we were put in, and they gave us our interviews in those rooms. So when we were done, the thing about some airlines let you know right away if you got it or you didn't. And some don't, but this particular one did. So I walked out with all the other candidates and walked out into the hall, and my coworker spotted me first. And he came up to me and he says, did you get it? Did you? No, he said, I got it. They hired me. And I said, oh, that is so wonderful. And he says, well, you got it, right? And I said, no, they didn't want me. And he hugged me and he says, it's okay. He said, I'm going to buy your first album. And I just laughed and I thought that was so cute. So we talked some more, then we left. And I drove home and I got home and I cried. And months went by and nothing happened. So I'm going to stop here and continue on with the story. So a friend of mine, a friend of hers was a flight attendant. And she had me come over and talk to me and told me a lot of different things about, being a flight attendant. And she said to look in the Sunday paper that a lot of airlines, especially large commercial airlines, take out a large 1 or 2 page ad advertising for flight attendants, pilots, customer service reps, and so on. And so now this is before people would go online, long before people would go online to look for jobs. So I kept looking in the Sunday newspapers, and I didn't see anything. Then I think it was the second or third time that I looked in the Sunday newspaper. They're so thick, the Sunday newspapers are just huge. So I went through it and I found the ad, and there was this huge 2-page ad of this large commercial airlines, and it said they were hiring. And so I put in my resume and sent them all my information. And some time went by, a couple months went by, I didn't hear anything. And then one day I got a letter from them saying that they were interested and that they were going to send me tickets. So they sent me tickets. I flew to Chicago, and when I went into the airport, got on the shuttle, went to the hotel area that they have. It's almost, I think it was like the training, it was actually the training center, and they were interviewing people there. So when I got to the room that we were interviewing in, there were so many candidates, and they were gorgeous. I looked around the room and I just smiled. I smiled at the supervisors that were sitting all in the back. I smiled at all the candidates. They were just gorgeous. Men, women, all different nationalities. They were just gorgeous. And everybody was just dressed to the nines. I mean, hair done, nails done, makeup beat, and shoes, stockings, I mean, just outfits. I mean, they were just dressed to the nines, male and female. And everybody looked so good. It looked like it was maybe an audition for modeling or something. Everybody looked really just gorgeous. And I smiled at as many people as I could. And so the supervisors had us, get into groups and what have you. And I got into a group, and people were coming, to our group. We had several different circles where people were in groups. So when I sat down, I looked up to the ceiling, and silently I said, God, if all of these people, they're so beautiful, if all of these people want to be a flight attendant as bad as I do, let all of them make it. Just touch people's hearts and minds. Let every last one of them, don't leave anybody out. Let them all make it. I said, but for me, I'm going to go back home and I will be a good customer service rep until they let us go. And I said, if what I have to offer is not good enough, if who I am is not who they want, I said, God, I don't belong here. And I'm just going to go back home and be a good customer service rep. So as I was sitting in our group, something caught the corner of my peripheral vision of my right eye. And I turned my head and looked, and there was this one lone girl, little blonde girl. She was sitting by herself. She had just come from work, and she was a restaurant worker. She had her apron on, she had her work shoes on, and her uniform, restaurant uniform on. She had food spilled on her, and her hair was kind of tousled. She looked like she was just so ashamed. And I said, Heather, now that was not her real name. Everybody had a name tag. And I said, come on over here and you join our group. Well, the supervisors, there must have been about 5 of them. They were all seated behind us. They were listening to everything that we said. And I said, come on over to our group. You join our group, because no one picked her. And she was sitting by herself. So the moment I said that, I heard all the supervisors writing. You could hear them scribbling on their tablets. And I said to the group that I was with, I said, this young lady probably has come into contact with more professional people than any of us have, with more of a variety of people than any of us have. And I asked her to talk a little bit about the variety of people that she has come into contact with. She was very shy, but all of a sudden the supervisors started writing again. They started scribbling on the notepads again. And we'd gotten to a point in our group where there was some agreed on question number 3 or 4, and some did not. And so I said, well, you guys, for some reason, I took over. I just took over the whole group. And I said, which is not like me. And I said, you know what, guys, let's see if we can come to some type of conclusion. Let's see if we can work this out so that it's good for all of us. Then I hear the supervisors all scribbling again. They're all writing. And there was one particular guy in our group, let's say his name is Aaron, that wasn't his real name, and he was arguing one particular point for question number 10. And I said, you know what, guys? He has given us a compelling argument. Let's let him have that. And then the supervisors are writing again. You can hear them scribbling really loud, on their notepads. And so finally, when it was over, I didn't care whether I got it. It didn't matter because I was with such wonderful people. I just wanted to find out, where are these people from? What brought them to this point to decide now in their life to come to be a flight attendant? What were some of their goals in life? Were there any negatives that they had to deal with? Were there people who told them not to do it, or people that told them, that were in their corner and wanted them to go for it? I just was so interested in everybody else, how they got here. I just wanted to mingle with them and find out what it is that made them come to this interview, what made them decide that they wanted to be a flight attendant. Is this something they wanted to do all their life? Is it something that a career change? But anyway, that's what interested me most. I didn't care anymore whether I got it. So we all talked for a while and we hugged each other, said goodbye. Well, we got on the shuttle and rode over to the airport, and we said goodbye again, and we got on to our prospective flights to our homes. And I got back early enough that I could still go into customer service and do some work. So my flight landed, I got off and got to the shuttle and to my car. So I drove back to work, walked into customer service. And the moment that I walked into customer service, the landline phone on my supervisor's desk rang. And she answered it. And I'm going to stop here because the conclusion will be tomorrow, and this is very important that goes along with that. So I want you to come back and I want you to hear the conclusion, and you don't want to miss it. It's really good. So I just want to thank all of you for staying with me this long. I hope that you've enjoyed my story. And like I said, there's a link below if you want to know what happens. As you've already followed me this far now, so you got to stick with me. And there's a website below that is direct access to my book. There are 5 other stories that are true, that actually happened to me in the book. So if you would like to get that book, you can click on the link below. Don't give up on your dreams. I love you. Bye.